Peace to everyone just now joining. Welcome to Winnings Wednesday for October 22nd, 2025. We are live across 4 platforms today. We are live on StreamYard. We are live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and X. So we welcome everyone across all 4 platforms. My name is Errol C. Mangle, and I'll be your host. And today I've got a lot to discuss. A lot going on in the financial markets. So I wanted to get right into it. But before we do, let's see who we've got. We welcome everyone. Let us know where you're from. Again, we go live every Wednesday, noon Eastern, and we discuss current events in the financial markets. We skip all the begging. We skip all the ass kissing. We skip all the shiny resumes. We skip all the approvals. And we go straight to the power and ownership. In America, the power and ownership are found in the financial markets, not in the workforce. Definitely not in the workforce. So if you're interested in ownership, if you're interested in wealth, if you're interested in power, we're going straight to that. We're skipping all the middlemen. We're skipping all the people pleasing, and we're going straight to the ownership. So before I jump into some of the articles I want to discuss, I'm looking at the current market right now. Let's see what we got. Okay, so far it looks like a red day today. I see Bitcoin at 108,400. S&P currently at 668. The NASDAQ at 606. I've got actually, let me share my screen here because there's a couple of tickers I want to discuss in person. Let me share my screen. Here we go. Okay, so like I said, NASDAQ 606, Bitcoin 1083, Ethereum 3800. I wanted to discuss Apple in detail. I've got an Amazon article I want to discuss. If I scroll down, let's see here. I've got a Netflix article I want to discuss. You see Netflix at 1120. Tesla's going to make some news tomorrow, currently at 434. So that's a live look at the market. Okay, Google at 251. All right, so that's a live look. That's what the market is looking like as of 12:03 p.m. Eastern. I want to get to one of the major topics this week in the market. And that's Amazon. That's Amazon Web Services. I've been traveling, so I haven't really been keeping up with Amazon. I know their servers were down, but I wanted to read a couple articles on Amazon. All right, so what I'm going to do is share this screen right here, and let's look up at what's going on with Amazon. Okay, so I just went to Google to search Amazon Web Services. I clicked on news, and let's see what's going on here. Okay, I want to read this article right here from CNN Business. Let's see what's going on with Amazon Web Services. Okay, Amazon says systems are back online after global internet outage. Global internet outage. All right, let's read this article. And this is current as of yesterday morning. All right, as of 3:33 p.m. Eastern, Amazon Monday afternoon said it was systems. Said that its systems are mostly back online after a massive AWS cloud services outage brought down thousands of high-profile apps, websites, and online platforms with it. We continue to observe recovery across all AWS services, the company said. One Amazon product, Lambda, continued to return errors, but the company said the company said the company is bringing that service back online. Lambda lets customers write new code for their products and platforms, and the service will automatically manage the infrastructure needed to deploy the code. Okay, so this is an interesting headline right here. Total cost of the outage could reach hundreds of billions of dollars. CEO of Internet Performance Monitoring firm Catchpoint estimates the total financial impact of the AWS service disruption will be in the billions of dollars. The incident highlights the complexity and fragility of the internet, as well as how much each aspect of our work depends on the internet to work. The financial impact of this outage will easily reach into the hundreds of billions due to loss in productivity for millions of workers that cannot do their job, plus business operations that are stopped or delayed from airlines to factories. So hundreds of billions. Billions of dollars. Already, the outage has resulted in delayed flights, prevented customers from making purchases on certain apps or accessing financial services and caused issues for workers trying to do their jobs on Monday. What I did notice on Monday was certain email servers were down. Okay, certain email servers were down. I didn't know on Monday. I did not know that AWS was having issues, but I did notice that certain people didn't have access to their email. Okay, so let's see what else this article says. Okay, so Amazon says its services are recovering again. Okay, so this looks to be a continued issue the last few days. Amazon says its services are recovering again. After narrowing down the cause of its massive and ongoing internet connectivity issues, Amazon said early Monday afternoon that it has a plan in place to fix the system responsible for the outage. AWS is now seeing connectivity and API recovery for AWS services. The problems appear to have stemmed from a system designed to monitor how much load is on the network. Amazon said it recently took additional steps to help that system recover. It also said it's working on allowing companies to create new instances of Elastic Compute Cloud EC2, a virtual machine that allows customers to build cloud-based applications, which Amazon had throttled to help fix the broader problems. Okay, so let me go back here. Okay, so that was the CNN Business article. I want to check any other resources. Let's check a couple articles from, see if there's any other interesting articles from a different source. So LA Times, why did Amazon's AWS outage disrupt Snapchat, Ring, and many others? Let's check this one. People struggle to access. Let's see if I can get rid of this ad. Okay, move aside. Okay. People struggle to access social media app Snapchat, online game Fortnite, payments app Venmo, and other popular online services on Monday after an Amazon Web Service outage caused widespread disruption. Down Detector, a website that tracks online outages, said the AWS outage resulted in more than 11 million reports across all services. 11 million. Okay. So when I see this number, 11 million, that makes me think of the U.S. population, which I believe is about 335 million. So 11 out of every 335 people reported an issue. More than 250 companies received an increased reporting of problems, according to the website. The outage was another reminder of how customers, businesses, and even government organizations rely. Okay, let's pause right there. There's a lesson right here. Okay, what's the lesson in this sentence, in this paragraph right here? What's the lesson right there? What is the lesson? The outage was another reminder of how customers, businesses, and even government organizations rely on AWS and its massive cloud to make their websites, apps, and other online services work. What's the lesson right there? Is there a lesson? Okay, so my takeaway from that paragraph is to not be so vulnerable, not be so reliable on one source. Okay, if you're in business, this ties back to the supply chain conversation. Okay, if you're one entity in the supply chain and you're too reliant on another entity, if you're too reliant on only one other entity in the supply chain, you're vulnerable. Okay, you're very vulnerable. Okay, so the takeaway there is maybe you're not so reliant on one source. Maybe you use 2 or 3 sources, or if you have one main source, you've got one main backup or two main backups just in case. Okay, so that's my takeaway. That's my reminder to myself. That's a reminder to myself there. I see a comment in the chat is don't put all your eggs in one basket. My interpretation of this comment is to not rely on one source. Okay, not rely on one source, just in case that one source starts acting funny. We can still eat. Okay. All right, let's continue here. What is AWS? What is AWS? AWS provides cloud computing services to millions of customers that include companies and organizations across various sectors such as tech, entertainment, government, education, and financial services. The cloud provider offers more than 200 services, enabling businesses to store data, host websites, and access computing power. Businesses pay Amazon based on consumption of these services, so they don't have to own and maintain data centers and servers themselves. AWS captured about 30% of the global cloud infrastructure market in the second quarter of this year, ahead of its rivals Microsoft and Google, according to data from this research group. How did the outage affect businesses? Since businesses rely on AWS, the outage meant that users had trouble using various services. According to Down Detector, people even ran into issues accessing Amazon products such as its Alexa smart speaker and Ring doorbell cameras. Okay, Coinbase, a cryptocurrency exchange, posted on social media site X that some users couldn't access company's online platform because the AWS outage but that all funds are safe. Okay, airlines such as United and Delta also experienced disruptions, with customers reporting they couldn't check their reservations or check in bags. Okay. What caused the outage? AWS stated reporting issues shortly after midnight Pacific. Let's see here. Okay, Amazon said it narrowed down the source of the network connectivity issues that impacted AWS. The root cause is an underlying internal subsystem responsible for monitoring the health of our network load balancers. Okay, this chief digital officer said at a cybersecurity company, NIMF VPN, told media outlets CNBC and CNN in a statement that there's no signs that this AWS outage was caused by a cyber attack. Okay. All right, so major headline from this past Monday, AWS outage caused a lot of internet drama, okay, and seems to be still causing internet drama. All right. I noticed this on Monday myself. Okay, so I was wondering what was going on Monday. Turns out AWS, Amazon was having some issues. Okay. All right, so that's one article I want to discuss today. AWS, probably the major headline this week. But I did see some other headlines yesterday I wanted to talk about. And here's one of them. You might have seen this. You might have seen this as well. Gold has pulled back. Okay, gold's been on a crazy run recently. This article is from Yahoo Finance. It says gold extends rout in volatile pullback from record price surge. This is from early this morning, 5:30 a.m. Eastern. Bloomberg, gold extended losses in a choppy session after suffering the worst rout in over 12 years on Tuesday on concerns its rally had run too far, too fast. Spot gold slid below 4,080 an ounce as European trading got underway after swings that saw it slump almost 3% earlier than recover. That was a day after. Okay, so it looked like it tumbled 6%. Okay, so gold has pulled back a little bit. Technical selling has been the main culprit. Okay, what's the current price of an ounce of gold? What's the current price of an ounce of gold? After sitting on the sidelines for much of the early period of gold's rally, retail investors have taken a bigger role in recent months. Options volume on the top gold-backed ETFs and futures contracts, a popular way for retail investors to take big bets on the metal's value, have surged. President Donald Trump's aggressive moves to try to reshape global trade and heightened geopolitical uncertainty have underlined the move higher in precious metals this year. Citigroup cut its overweight gold recommendation after the slump on Tuesday, citing concerns about stretch positioning. The bank expects further consolidation around 4,000 an ounce. Okay, so not too long ago, we were saying, wow, 4,000 an ounce. Now the last couple of days, now we're like, oh wow, only 4,000 an ounce. Okay, so perspective has a lot to do with this, right? Investor psychology has a lot to do with this. Okay, so this is another headline from yesterday. I wanted to talk about gold and other precious metals look to have pulled back. Gold slump on Tuesday was an accident waiting to happen. If realized volatility has spiked higher of late, it is perhaps because hedge funds have begun to question the risk-reward ratio after what has been a stellar year for the commodity. Okay, spot gold fell 1% to 44,777 an ounce as of 10 a.m. London, 10:30 a.m. in London. Okay, what's the current price of gold? What's the current price of gold? Let's go to the AI and ask the AI what the current price of gold, 1 ounce of gold is. Let's go to Grok. Let's ask Grok what it is. All right, let's share Grok. Okay, let's X that. Let's ask what is the price of an ounce of gold as of October 22nd at approximately 11:37 a.m. Eastern, which was 23 plus 16, 40 something minutes ago, 40 minutes ago. The spot price of 1 troy ounce of gold is $4,051. Okay, $4,051. Okay, this is the live market price for immediate delivery. Okay, so $4,051 per ounce. It looks like. Okay, 4,051. So that looks like the market value currently of our ounce of gold. Okay. All right. Okay, 1 ounce of gold over $4,000. Okay. What do you guys think about that? What are your comments or questions on gold? Do you guys hold gold? Do you guys hold physical gold? Do you hold ETFs? Do you hold any gold at all? Do you hold something else? Let's see here. I see a question in the comment. My guy Nicholas, shout out Nicholas. What are your thoughts on this gold run? It's been on fire this year. I don't own any gold. Even if I wanted to own some gold, I wouldn't buy at the top. I wouldn't buy at 4,000 or over 4,000. I would buy maybe if it pulled back a little bit. So that's my brief thoughts on gold. Do you own any gold? I see another question here. Is it fair to say that would be all metals as well? Is it fair to say that would be all metals as well? I think it was covering all precious metals, that article, all precious metals. Andrea says OpenAI introduced Atlas, an in-app search engine with ChatGPT as a driver. Okay. I see. We talked about this the last couple of weeks. OpenAI seems to be doing business with a lot of other companies. So they're introducing Atlas, an in-app search engine with ChatGPT as a driver. So my question when I read that comment is, how is it different than Google Maps? I use Google Maps a lot. So the first question that jumps into mind is, how is it different than Google Maps? Is it better? How's it better? Is it not better? An in-app search engine with ChatGPT, okay, it's just a search engine. Okay, so is it better than Google? What differentiates it from Google? Okay, so Andrew says ETF only with 4 precious metals. Okay, what's a gold ETF or what's a precious metal ETF? GLD. All right, let's look up GLD right quick. Let's look up GLD. Let me search GLD on Google. Let's take a look. GLD. All right, let me share the screen here. Share screen. GLD. Okay, let's look at GLD. Okay, GLD currently at 371.63. 5-day down 5%. 1 month up almost 8%. 6 months up 20%. Year to date up 51%. Okay, so that's GLD. 1 year 46, 5 year 108, all time 730. Okay, so that's a live look at gold, GLD, SP, the Gold Trust. Okay, Gold Trust, GLD, the ticker symbol GLD. Okay, that's the recent performance of GLD. All right, while I have this Google ticker up, I wanted to talk about another company, which was Apple stock. Okay, so you might have known Apple just recently hit an all-time high. Let's take a look at Apple. Currently at 258, 54, 5-day up 4%, 1 month above flat, 6 months. Okay, it's been on fire the last 6 months, up 30%. Year to date, 6%. Okay. And in the last 5 years, okay, so it's at its all-time high, it looks like 258. All right, so Apple's doing very well. Okay, this article is from 2 days ago. Apple closed at record after strong iPhone 17 sales reports for U.S. and China. Okay, what else do we have? Apple stock hits all-time high as company's value nears $4 trillion. Okay, this is from Forbes yesterday. Let's take a look at Forbes. Apple's tops Microsoft. Okay, so while we're beefing on who the best rapper is, okay, while we're beefing about which ball team is better than the other ball team, okay, here's a real conversation. Here's a real battle. Okay, here's the real battle. This is the battle for second biggest company in the world. Okay, Apple just overtook Microsoft as of Monday. Okay, now it might have changed since Monday, but here's a real conversation. Okay, here's a real conversation. Which company is the biggest in the world? Which company is the second biggest in the world? Which company is the third biggest in the world? Okay. All right. So Apple overtook Microsoft as the world's second most valuable company Monday, after a stock rally fueled by high demand for iPhone 17. The tech giant's latest flagship model pushed the tech behemoth market cap near $4 trillion, mark for the first time ever. Okay. Let's see what else we have. Here. Apple shares closed up 4%, 262 on Monday, marking the stock's highest close of all time. iPhone 17 outsold the iPhone 16 by 14% in China and the US within the first 10 days of release. Okay. iPhone's maker stock is now up 6% in the last week of trading. Okay. Okay, another monster company in the world, Apple, got a stranglehold in several markets around the world. Okay. All right, let's see what else Forbes says. Okay, so they're at about 3.9 trillion market cap, approaching 4 trillion. Okay, so Microsoft was 3.8 trillion on Monday. NVIDIA is at 4.4. Okay, so here's the real race. Here's the real 1, 2, 3. Okay, here's the real 1, 2, 3. NVIDIA at 4.4, Apple at 3.9, Microsoft at 3.8 trillion. Okay. All right. Which companies do you invest in? Okay, here's your top 3 right here. Here's your top 3. This one quote says, buying this device is a no-brainer, especially when you throw channel discounts and coupons into the mix. Apple stock's up 5% since the start of the year. You might have seen Tim Cook next to Donald Trump in recent months. Okay, that was not an accident. That was not a coincidence. Okay. Trump being buddy-buddy with Tim Cook is no accident. Trump being buddy-buddy with Jensen is no accident. Trump being buddy-buddy with Elon Musk is no accident. Trump being buddy-buddy with Sandar is no accident. Okay, no accident, no coincidence. All right, let's see. Okay, let me read this last little bit right here. Apple managed to secure conditional tariffs exemptions on iPhones. Okay, that was not a coincidence. Okay, that wasn't by accident. Apple managed to secure conditional tariff exemptions on iPhones and semiconductors from the Trump administration, committing $500 billion toward the administration's push for a bolstered domestic manufacturing. Okay. No accident. All right, so that's what's going on with Apple. according to Forbes. All right. Let's see what else we have here. Okay. All right. So we just talked about Apple. We just talked about Amazon. I want to share companies that are reporting earnings this week. Let me pull this up right quick. You might have known Netflix reported earnings yesterday. Let's see what's going on with Netflix. Let me pull this up right quick. Okay, here it is. Okay, let me share my screen here. Share screen. Okay, so here's a look at earnings whispers. All the companies that report this week. Okay. All right, so Monday, no major company on Monday. Yesterday, Coke in the morning, 3M, Netflix. Okay, we're going to talk about Netflix yesterday after close. What else do we have? Tomorrow afternoon, or tomorrow morning, AT&T. Tomorrow afternoon, Tesla. Okay, so there'll be a lot of eyes on Tesla tomorrow afternoon. What else do we have? Intel. Okay, Intel Thursday after close. Okay, so those are some of the companies reporting this week. The bigger companies. Netflix. I want to talk about them right now. Tesla and Intel. Okay, Intel. The last couple months, interesting company. Okay. All right, so let me pull up an article I have on Netflix. Let me pull up an article on Netflix. I think Netflix pulled back since their earnings yesterday. Okay, let's see what's going on with Netflix. Okay, let me scroll up here. Netflix stock falls after earnings miss estimates. Operating profit takes a hit. All right, so Netflix is currently, let me see the price of Netflix. Netflix is currently $1,119 per share. $1,119 per share. Netflix reported earnings that missed analyst expectations on both revenue and profit, sending shares over 8% lower in trading on Wednesday. Netflix reported a revenue of $11.5 billion, just shy of Bloomberg's consensus estimates of $11.52 billion, and slightly below the company's own guidance of $11.53. The company that compares to $9.82 billion in the same quarter last year. Okay, so they said 11.53, estimates were 11.52, and actuals were 11.51. All right, so there goes Netflix, $11.19 per share. The company guided to revenue for the current quarter above Wall Street's expectations, forecasting Q4 revenue of $11.96 billion. So imagine making almost $12 billion every quarter. Okay, if you're paying Netflix a subscription, make sure you own Netflix stock. Let's see what else it says here. Okay, for the full 2025, Netflix expects revenue of $45 billion, toward the upper end of its previous $44.8 billion to $45.2 billion forecast range. Netflix reported an operating margin of 28%. Okay, operating margin. Okay, we kind of talked about arguably the most important metric in business. We talked about this metric many times before. Arguably, my opinion, the most important business metric is profit margin. Okay, this article says 28%. Okay, Netflix has a profit margin of 28%, below its forecast of 31.5%, due to unexpected expense tied to ongoing dispute with Brazilian tax authorities. Okay, we talked about this. I'm gonna briefly mention this. If you don't know which companies to invest in the companies with the highest profit margin. Very simple. If you don't know where to invest in the companies with the highest profit margin. Very simple. Looking ahead, Netflix now forecasts a 2025 operating margin of 29%. Okay, it's only 1% high, but you're talking billions of dollars. Okay, so that 1% is a lot. Down slightly from its prior expectation of 30. Okay, so Netflix is operating with a profit margin of 28 or 29%. Okay, what do you guys think about that? Profit margin, most important business metric, profit margin. Let's see here. Okay, ChatGPT is all things search. Okay, Atlas makes search purchases, ultimately flips Google AI Grok Copilot on its head. Okay, I'm gonna have to check out Atlas. Okay, but Netflix is killing it. Okay, but it has pulled back. So if you like Netflix, here's your opportunity. Okay, check this. Okay, here we go. This relates directly to me. Netflix said engagement remains healthy thanks to a particularly strong content slate in the third quarter. That included the Canelo versus Crawford fight, which drew over 41 million global viewers and was the most watched men's championship boxing of. Okay, I can't read that well. Championship boxing match of the century. Okay, let me read that again. Netflix said engagement remains healthy thanks to a particularly strong content slate in the third quarter. That included the Canelo versus Crawford fight, which drew over 41 million global viewers and was the most watched championship boxing match of the century. Okay. So if you like Netflix, make sure you own shares in Netflix. Okay, don't drop $20 a month on Netflix and not own Netflix. Okay. And this is a reminder to myself first. Okay, so that's what's going on with Netflix. Has pulled back since earnings yesterday. All right. Netflix has pulled back. Currently $1,119 per share. All right. I wanted to share. Let me see if I can pull this up right here. I saw some interesting YouTube shorts the other day. I want to see if I can find them. Let me see if I can pull them up. Shorts. Okay, let me share my screen here. Let me share my screen. Okay, this is Yahoo Finance's YouTube short channel. All right, so this one deals with Fed rate cuts.
Christopher Waller, of all people, came out recently. He said he's not sure they're going to cut 2 more times this year, although the next one seems pretty assured. Do you think the market has gotten too complacent pricing in 2 more cuts?
I do. When I saw that quote, it was music to my ears because that's kind of been our view for a while. And I think talking about Waller is really important because he's been one of the more dovish committee members out there. And he said beyond October, it's a really uncertain outlook, and that's kind of where we stand.
We're in an environment where the market is just aggressive on the Fed cuts. We're in a place where inflation is still, even though it's not as bad as it could be, inflation is still running at 3%. And it's probably going to get stuck around 2.5%, which is still not 2%. If the environment actually inflects higher with growth running above trend, so somewhere above 2%, and inflation is sticky at 2.5 to 3, it's hard for the Fed to cut as much as what's in the price.
Christopher Waller, of all people, came out recently. He said he's not sure they're going to cut 2 more times this year, although the next one seems pretty assured. Do you think the market has gotten too complacent pricing in 2 more cuts?
I do. When I saw that quote, it was music to my ears because that's kind of been our view for a while. And I think talking about Waller is really important because he's been one of the more dovish committee members out there. And he said beyond October, it's a really uncertain outlook, and that's kind of where we stand.
We're in an environment where the market is just aggressive on the Fed cuts. We're in a place where inflation is still, even though it's not as bad as it could be, inflation is still running at 3%. And it's probably going to get stuck around 2.5%, which is still not 2%. If the environment actually inflects higher with growth running above trend, so somewhere above 2%, and inflation is sticky at 2.5 to 3, it's hard for the Fed to cut as much as what's in the price.
Christopher Waller, of all people, came out recently. He said he's not sure they're going to cut.
I believe this Friday, it was either the CPI or the PPI was due this Friday, but since the government shutdown is still in effect, I'm wondering. Let's ask the AI that. Actually, let me share the. Let's ask the AI together. Share screen. Chat. Let's chat. Let's ask chat. Let's see here. Let me ask ChatGPT if. Let me ask it. What financial report? What financial report is due out Friday? I thought it was one of this. Either I think it's the inflation report. I'm not sure if they'll release it. Okay, let me ask if it's the CPI. Is the CPI report due Friday? Okay, it says yes. Yes, the Bureau of Labor Statistics has scheduled the release of the U.S. Consumer Price Index (CPI) report for Friday, October 24th. Okay, at 8:30 a.m. Eastern for the September 2025 data. Okay, so here you go. Today's Wednesday. This Friday, the CPI report comes out in the morning, 8:30 a.m. Eastern. Okay, so for any of you investors, you might want to put that on your calendar. This Friday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern, the CPI report will come out. Okay, the latest inflation report will come out this week. Okay, this Friday, let's ask the ChatGPT when I think the PPI comes out the following week. When does the PPI report come out? The PPI for US is scheduled to be released. Okay, both of them. Okay, so September 25, scheduled to release on October 16th. Okay, it was already released. My bad. Okay, so the PPI was last week. It looks like the CPI is coming up this week. Okay. All right, and let's ask the ChatGPT. Is Jerome Powell? Oh no, I'll ask him. When is Jerome Powell scheduled to speak next? I think he speaks on the 28th and 29th to speak next. Let's ask when Jerome Powell speaks next. Couldn't find a confirmed upcoming public speaking event. Okay. All right. Okay. Actually, okay. So there's no public thing scheduled, but let me see. Let me ask it. When is the next FOMC meeting? I believe it's the 28th and 29th. Yeah. Okay. It's right there at the top. The next Federal Open Market Committee meeting is scheduled for the 20th to 29th. Okay. Today is the 22nd. Okay. So next week, Tuesday. Another key date in the financial markets will be next Tuesday and Wednesday. Okay. So mark that on your calendars. This week, Friday, CPI report. Next week, Tuesday and Wednesday, the next Fed meeting. Okay. Here's some key dates for all you investors. Okay. Friday, October 24th, Tuesday, October 28th, and Wednesday, October 29th. Okay. Maybe next week we'll discuss what happened last week, next week, Tuesday and Wednesday. Okay. Some key dates for all you investors. All right. Thank you, ChatGPT. Okay. So if I use ChatGPT, I should own Microsoft. Okay. I'm not going to just be a consumer. I want to be a producer. My company produces ChatGPT. Okay. My company, Microsoft, produces ChatGPT. I don't want to be a consumer all the time. I want to be a producer sometimes too. I actually want to be a producer more than I'm a consumer. But I'm a consumer just like you. I just use ChatGPT. Make sure I own Microsoft shares. Okay. My company, Microsoft, produces. They do business with OpenAI, the company that makes ChatGPT. Okay. All right. I saw another interesting article in the AI space. I saw an article on Yahoo Finance that talks about Meta laying off a bunch of workers. So I wanted to share that one. Let me see if I can add that one. Stop that one and share. It was kind of surprising. It was kind of counterintuitive. Let's see what's going on. Meta is cutting around 600 roles in the AI unit, according to Routers. Okay, according to Routers. You think they would be hiring 600 more, but they're actually cutting 600. Routers. Meta is cutting roughly 600 positions out of several thousand roles within its Super Intelligence Labs AI unit. The cuts will affect the company's Facebook AI research unit, product-related AI, and AI infrastructure units, while sparing the newly formed TBD lab, according to the report. Okay. Fewer team members would streamline decision-making and increase the responsibility, scope, and impact of each role, the report said. Meta did not immediately respond to Router's request for comment. The company is encouraging affected employees to apply for other jobs within Meta and expects most will find a position internally. On Tuesday, Meta struck a $27 billion financing deal with Blue Owl Capital, the company's largest ever private capital agreement, to fund its biggest data center project. Some analysts said the deal will allow Meta to achieve its massive AI ambitions by shifting much of its upfront cost and risk to external capital while retaining a smaller ownership share in the project. The parent of Facebook and Instagram reorganized its AI efforts under Super Intelligence Labs in June after senior staff departures and a poor reception for its open source Llama 4 model. CEO Zuckerberg personally led the aggressive hiring spree for the unit to revitalize Meta's AI efforts. Zuckerberg said in July the company would spend hundreds of billions of dollars to build several massive AI data centers for superintelligence, a theoretical milestone where machines could match or surpass human capabilities. All right, the company began investing in AI in 2013. Okay, so Meta is cutting some of its staff, cutting around 600 roles in the AI unit, okay, according to Routers. All right, so Meta, one of the biggest companies in the world, I believe they're either 7th, 8th, or 9th largest in the world. They are cutting AI staff. Okay, they are cutting AI staff. All right, so another interesting article. I want to stop sharing that one. And I want to just go to CNN Business right quick. Let's see what's going on with CNN Business. One of my main financial sources. Share screen. CNN Business. Let's check some of the live headlines there. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Welfare cuts. Oh, okay. Check this second headline from CNN Business. You thought Monday's internet outage was bad? Just wait. Okay, let's check that. Can't pass up that. Let's check out this article right here. Okay, let's see what this article says. This is from about an hour and a half ago. Okay. Amazon Monday's AWS outage and the global disruption that it caused underscored how reliant the internet has become on a small number of core infrastructure providers. It may be a hypothetical scenario today, but the tech industry is promising a rapid shift toward AI agents doing more work on behalf of humans in the near future. Okay, so the future is here. Okay, breaking news, the future is here. If there's an outage and you rely on AI to make your decisions and can't access it, that's going to have an effect on performance. Georgetown's McDonough School of Business. Okay, Georgetown University School of Business. They're not playing games. They said, make sure if there's an outage, you rely. There's going to be problems basically if you rely too much on the AI making decisions for you. All right, let's go back here. All right, so lesson there is to not be too reliant on one source. Oh, I saw this article. I wanted to read it and share it as well. A significant group of Americans all falling behind on car payments, an economic warning sign, updated 3 hours ago. Let's take a look at this article. A key group of American borrowers is falling significantly, okay, not falling behind, falling significantly behind on their car loans. It's yet another sign that the U.S. economy is forming some serious cracks, leaving the most vulnerable in financial distress. Okay, let's pause right there. You know the question I'm going to ask. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? A percentage of subprime borrowers, those with credit scores below 670, who are at least 60 days late on their car loans, has doubled since 2021 to 6.43%. That's worse than during the past 3 recessions, during the COVID pandemic, the Great Recession, or the dot-com bust. America's current subprime delinquency rate is second highest level since early 1990s. The only time it was higher this past January. Cars are being repossessed at the highest rate since the Great Recession of 2008 and 2009. It's a disturbing trend to economists. Car loans are typically the last payments that Americans are willing to miss. Okay? It's a disturbing trend to economists. Car loans are typically the last payment that Americans are willing to miss. Okay? They're too important to their lives. Cars are essential tools to get to work, drive families, and access food. Okay? Get that car loan so you can pay it off by driving to work every day. Okay, that could be a vicious cycle. Okay, that could be a vicious cycle. No room for error. Record car prices and high interest rates, combined with other inflationary pressures, have sent average auto payments to record levels and have put significant stress on car owners. Okay, so check what this headline says right here. Lower income borrowers are falling behind on car loans. Subprime borrowers, the default, for subprime borrowers, the default rate, those whose cars have been or are about to be repossessed, which stood at nearly 10% in September. That's down from a year ago, but above the long-term average. Those borrowers often have no choice but to default. They can't sell their cars because they owe so much more than it's worth. They have often already missed payments on other obligations, such as mortgage payments or rent, as well as payments due on credit cards and student loans. There's no room for error. Chief economist at Cox Automotive says, surging costs, just over half of new car leases and more than 3/4 of new car loans are made in the second quarter had monthly payments of $500 or more, and 46% of used car loans have payments of $500 or above. For new car loans, check this sentence. For new car loans, more than 70% have payments more than $1,000. Okay, if you are paying $1,000 on your car, make sure you're paying $1,000 to yourself. Okay, make sure you're the main beneficiary of your labor. Make sure you're the main beneficiary of your capital. Repair costs have surged at a time when many are holding onto their cars for longer to avoid splurging on a new one. That's the most in nearly 2 years, and repair costs increased 5% between July and August, the biggest monthly increase on record. Meanwhile, car insurance rates have increased significantly. Consumer pain. Okay, the increased costs of owning and maintaining a car aren't happening in a vacuum. They're taking place after years of rising prices at the supermarket and across the economy. 2 years ago, many student loan payments were paused during the pandemic. They became due again. Okay, you can read the rest of that article on CNN Business. What you going to do about it? Besides cry and complain, what are we going to do about it? Besides blame the economy, what are we going to do about it? Besides blame racism, what are we going to do about it? Besides blame Biden, what are we going to do about it? Besides blame Trump, what are we going to do about it? Who else is our favorite scapegoats? Who are our favorite scapegoats? Okay, are we going to take responsibility, or are we going to blame our favorite scapegoat? All right, what you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? My guy Howard, big up Howard, he says, if you're looking for an automobile, find someone that is behind on the payments and work out it. Yeah, that's a good point right here. And work out a dealing payment to take over. Yeah, and safe borrow credit. Yeah, it's a good tip here from Howard. If you're looking for an automobile, find someone that's behind on their payments and work on a plan with them to take over. Okay. It's a good tip from Howard. Shout out Howard. And then he also says maybe be in the market for hard money lenders. May be a market for hard money lendings. Okay. Good tip here from Howard. Shout out Howard. Okay, so a lot of negative headlines. Okay. The bottom line is, what are we going to do about it? Besides defer the blame, what are you going to do about it? Are we just going to continue to complain? Or are we going to do something about it? All right, let me check. I want to check Yahoo Finance before we wrap. Share. Let's see what's going on Yahoo Finance. Let me refresh it. Yahoo Finance. All right, let's see here. Gold sinks, Bitcoin plunges. Okay, we talked about gold. Microsoft is bringing Windows, Xbox closer together. Netflix stock dies. We talked about that. What else do we have? U.S. set to near deal with India as Trump wobbles on Xi meeting. This is an interesting article right here. Next Fed meeting, when it is in October and what to expect. Let's check that. Okay, as of 7 minutes ago. Okay, next Federal Reserve Policy Committee 20 and 29. Fed is widely expected to cut the Fed funds rate by 0.25 percentage to point of a range to 3.25 or 4, 3.75 to 4. On Tuesday, financial markets were pricing in a 97% chance of a 0.25 point cut. What it means for your finances. Interest costs and many kinds of short-term debt would fall. That includes credit cards, car loans, anything tied to bank prime rates. All right, let's see what the Fed is watching. The Fed is tasked by Congress with a dual mandate: keep inflation low and employment high. All right, so that's a headline from Yahoo Finance. Let's see what else. Okay, I want to touch on this one. Tesla. Tomorrow after close, Tesla will report their earnings. Tesla is set to report earnings today. Today. Here's what you need to know. For all you Tesla shareholders, Tesla is scheduled to report Q3 results after closing bell on Wednesday and is expected to say it returned to revenue growth after 2 quarters of decline. Investors will be watching for updates on Tesla Robotaxi, production plans for its Cybercab and Optimus humanoid robot. Options pricing suggests Tesla stock could approach a record high in the days after Wednesday's report. Check this last point right here. Options pricing suggests Tesla stock could approach a record high in the days after Wednesday's report. Okay, keep an eye on Tesla. Tesla is slated to kick off the Mag 7 when it reports Q3 results after the closing bell today. Why is this important? Okay, why is this important? Tesla is the first of the Mag 7 to report Q3 earnings. Its result could set the tone for the remainder of the Mag 7, all of which are valued at more than $1 trillion. Okay, so keep an eye on Tesla today. Tesla's had a chaotic year, but it started off on a positive note with the stock riding high on optimism about the incoming Trump administration and Musk's sway within it. Since Musk left the administration in May, Tesla has launched its first robotaxi service in Texas and unveiled long-awaited low-cost models. Okay. All right, so Tesla later on today. Okay, this guy's got a 600 price target. I had a 500 price target in my mind. Tesla is currently at 434. Okay, so it may pop later today. It may not pop. It may pull back. Okay, so Tesla will report earnings later today. All right. Let's see. Any comments or questions? Drop them in the chat. All right. Any comments or questions? Drop them in the chat. Let's check my notes. Okay, CPI Friday. Yeah. Let's take a live look at the market before we wrap. Actually, let me do that on Google. Stock market price. Let's see here. All right, let me share my screen here. Share screen. All right, so this is a live look at Google. Okay, the Investopedia article we just read. Yahoo Finance. Okay, NASDAQ slide as Netflix links, Tesla earnings loom. Focus on AI and growth at a reasonable price. Dow drops 200 points on trade fears, new earnings batch. Gold suffers worst day, gold plunges. U.S. stocks drift near the records. S&P flashes signs of fatigue. Okay, high-flying stocks could stall soon. NVIDIA, Palantir, Supermicro computer. NVIDIA, I believe, reports at the end of the month. Any of you NVIDIA shareholders, I believe NVIDIA earnings is the 28th or 29th. Let's check. Let me check right quick. NVIDIA. Oh, not until November. November 19th. My bad. November 19th. About a month from now. Okay. All right. Okay. So that's some headlines from Google. All right. Let's see. My guy. Okay. So Sheila says, would you consider buying call options on Tesla? It depends. It depends. I usually don't buy. Generally speaking, I don't buy options. I prefer selling options. I would have to take a look at their option chain. I would have to take a look at their current market price. I would have to take a look at what those call options cost. Okay, so several factors I would consider before pulling the trigger, including how much I would get paid. Excuse me, how much I would pay. But generally speaking, I probably would not consider buying call options on Tesla. I don't like gambling. I like people coming to my casino to gamble. I don't like being the gambler. I like chilling and collecting revenue instead of paying expenses. Okay, so probably not to answer your question, Sheila. My guy Howard says, I'm selling. Here we go. Howard's a smart guy. I'm selling options on Tesla TSLL. Currently may buy some more and then do another cover call. Okay, big up Howard. Howard's kind of like me. He'd rather sell options and collect revenue instead of buying options and paying an expense. So big up my guy Howard. El Haj, my guy El Haj, peace El Haj. El Haj says he has asked what's got the market down. Let me look at the market. So the market is down, 1% on the S&P, looks like. S&P, NASDAQ S&P about 0.5% down, NASDAQ down 1%. That's a good question, El Haj. Let's ask the AI. Let me X that. Let's just go to Grok AI and ask the AI. Let me share my screen. Let's see what kind of answer it gives us. Let me share. Stop that one. And let's share at Grok X AI. Okay, let's ask that exact question. Why is the stock market down today? Okay, does it give us a reason? Let's see if it gives us a reason. Okay, stock market performance down today shows mixed results based on available data. Okay, tech sector weakness. Indicated slide in technology heavyweights, dragged down by stocks concerns. Okay, so this is probably one reason. Netflix missing their earnings is another reason. Market corrections, speculative areas, geopolitical and economic uncertainty, commodity price decline. So there's 5 potential reasons right there, Elhaj. So according to Grok, tech sector weakness, earning disappointments. That third reason, quantum computing, drones, and unprofitable tech sectors, some down 20% or more in recent highs. So several reasons. Plus, we kind of expected a slight pullback after recent all-time highs. All right, so that's what AI says. Okay, that's what AI says. Okay, so 1 p.m. Eastern. Again, we'll meet next week, Tuesday, noon Eastern. I hope this was a value add. Hope you get some benefit out of these meetings. I'm going to have some scheduling updates for you guys next week. But thanks again. My name is Errol, and I am operational, not inspirational. Okay, check you out next week, Wednesday. Peace.